about how to utilize the let function in a fundamental way first, and then we will put this into an example. So the let function makes it easier to write certain complex formulas by making it possible to declare and assign values variables inside a formula. So let function gives you a flexibility rather than going for a very complex and bigger formulas, and that definitely consumes a lot of memory of your spreadsheets. You can declare and assign values to the variables inside that formula, and that's very fantastic. With respect to the speed, let function gives you a flexibility, and also it's a new kind of writing style of how the modern Excel users are approaching to the Excel. Let's understand the fundamental first. Let's understand that what kind of function arguments are available in the let function and how we can utilize it. So the purpose of the let function is to assign variables inside a formula. Okay, the purpose is to assign variables, and within the variables you can also create some logics. You can also nest different functions as well. Return value, normula, formula, result. Definitely the formula in the calculation we will define that will gives us a result. Okay, so definitely we will get a result from that. The syntax of let function is, first we have to define the name of that variable, and then the purpose, and then the calculation we want to do. And similarly, there are more than 126 variables we can define within the let function. So the first argument, which is the name one, is the first name to assign, must begin with a letter. Remember that these are the rules in order to utilize the let function. Value one, it could be a value, it could be any number, or it could be any calculation assigned to the name one. Okay. Then again, more we can assign more than one variable, so we have a capacity of 126. So again, that goes similar. We can assign the name of the value or the variable as a second name, and then these kind of pair of arguments go on. And last but not the least, we have to also define the calculation using the assigned names and values. So this is the example. Let's say the first example is very basic. Equals to let, first we have defined the name, which is x, and then the value assigned to it. So we have defined the value to x is 1. And when in the calculation, if I perform x plus 1, so it will give the answer of 2, because already x has been assigned a value of 1, and 1 plus 1 will be 2. You can also go with the more than one variable, as I told you. So in the let function, if you define a variable x and assign value 1, next one more variable, which is y, and you have also assigned the similar value, and then you are adding two variables together in the calculations. So x plus y definitely will be 2 as an output. This will be the result, right? Now this is very basic fundamental, but when we will be executing in the examples, you will understand more easily. So what are the benefits of let function gives us? So first thing is that it improves the performance. If you write the same expression multiple times in a formula, Excel calculate that result multiple times. But when you do it in the let function, it allows the expression by name, and for Excel, it will calculate only once. That's the first major benefit. The second benefit is that it's very easy in reading and composition. If you use let function with a practical scenario, so you don't have to remember the name ranges or cell reference, what you are referring to, or you are copying and pasting from the same expression. So it's more flexible and meaningful in terms of context to yourself and the consumers of the formula. Okay, so let's go to the demonstration part, and I will show you how the let function can be utilized in a better way. In this example, we are required to create a dynamic aggregation, and we will use the let function and also some other function as well, such as choose and subtotal. So I hope you understand how to utilize choose function in Excel or the subtotal function in Excel. So what we are required to do is I will create 4 different option buttons here, and whenever I click on any of the option button, that aggregation result will come up with the help of let function, and it will be dynamic. So for example, if I have 4 buttons here and one is for total, one is for maximum, one is for minimum. So whenever I click on any kind of aggregation name, from the sales column, it will give me a different kind of number, and that will be dynamically with the help of let function. So let's see how we can do that. So first we need 4 option buttons here. So for that, we will go to the developer tab. I will click on insert, and then I will click on form controls, and here you have that particular option button available. So I will quickly create that option button. I will copy and paste this option button on my spreadsheet, Control C, Control V. So we need 4 option buttons. In your scenario, it could be different. If you want to go with 2 aggregations, so you will insert 2 option buttons. If you want to go for more than that, you have to insert more option buttons. So we will quickly rename these option buttons. It's very easy. Simply you will have to right click on this option button, and in this contextual menu you will find edit text. So from here I will rename this as a total. Next option button, this will be renamed as max. Then third option button will be as minimum, and the fourth option button could be, for example, as an average. So whenever I click on max, automatically I will design a formula here which will give me the maximum number from this sales column. Whenever I will click on minimum, automatically the formula will give me a minimum number out of these sales number. Average will definitely make all these numbers total and then divide by that number of sales transactions, so that will be average, and total will definitely the normal sum. So now how I can use the let function in order to create the dynamic aggregation, and that's very simple. Let's come to the second step. The second step is that you need to connect this option button with a helper cell or a blank cell, and that's very easy. You have to right click, you will find the last option which is called format control, and then in the format control there is a cell link field available. So you have to link this with your spreadsheet cell, and now you can see that whenever you click on any of the option button, a number is being generated in this cell. Okay, so let me make it more meaningful. Let me add one more box, and I will enclose that 4 different aggregation in that box. So let me make it proper align. Okay, so for having that box, I will go to the developer tab, and here I will add the group box, and I will draw that group box, and I will rename that group box as display. All right, so now this group box is being ready. Yes. So let's create a logic here. Equals to let. Okay, now the first variable name. So I will press Alt Enter key, so that whatever I am creating here should be neat and clean, and you can understand that how these variables will work in the let function. So first I will give a range a name. For example, I have given a variable name as a range, comma, and within that range what I need to select, I need to select that entire range of sales that is from R7 to R17. So anytime in future if I want to call this range, I will not select this relative reference. I will just call with a name which is already defined as a variable in the let function. Okay, the next will be the select option, and the next variable name is the select, and this select carry a number which will be present in U4. Now understand this, how this select U4 will work. Every time when you click on any of the option button, every time when you click any of the option button here, this number will change, right? And we will use this utility in the choose function, and then that choose function will connect to the subtotal in order to give us the aggregation of that particular name when we select that from the buttons. So the select, we have defined a second variable which is called select, which is the U4, and how this number is changed, because we click on any of the option button, that number will change. The third line is the name of the third variable name. So I will give a variable name which is calculation short form, which is calc. You can give any name to the variable. Now for this example, I'm giving the names differently. So it's a name calc, which refers to the calculation. And what we need to do, we need to add the choose function, and the choose function first function argument is the index number. Now the index number will always be a positive number. And how that positive number will come, from where it will come? It will come from a variable which is called select. So as soon as I write SE, the IntelliSense of Excel is available here, and you can see there is a small x written here. And as we have defined a variable within the let function, so now it's also added in IntelliSense here. So we will add this word select, which will definitely returns a number every time, a positive number when we click on any of the option button. And within that choose function, what we need to define in value 1, 2, 3, 4, we need to define some numbers here, which is 9, 4, 5, 1. Now what are these 9, 4, 5, 1? Basically, this choose function will connect as an ultimate calculation from the subtotal function. And as an Excel user, if you understand the subtotal function has more than 11 built-in functions available. So in the subtotal function, if you want to calculate sum, you use 9 there. In the subtotal function, if you want to calculate average, you use 1 in the subtotal, right? So basically this 9, 4, 5, 1 represents total, max, min, average with respect to the subtotal. And how we can define here. So I will use subtotal as a, now the end part of this let function will be the calculation, to fill the calculation function argument. So I have wrote here subtotal function number. So the first function argument of subtotal is the function number. Now how it will come, from where it will come? It will come from the calc variable, and definitely whatever the number here present, which will be definitely change when I click on any of the option button, which range to be add in that calculation. So I have already made a variable which is called range. So now you can see that this is giving me 1200. When I click on max, 167. When I click on minimum, it's 50. When I want average, it's giving me an average. So this is how we have created the dynamic aggregation based on the let function, in which we have taken the help of some various functions, and we have created variables, different variables, and we have utilized them. Okay. The next part would be that how I can create a dynamic heading as well. So for creating a dynamic heading, you can use the choose function. So index number will come from U4. So whenever the first option button is selected, you need a title which is called total. When second option button selected, you need maximum word. For the third option button, you need minimum word, and the fourth option button, you need an average word. That would be nest with an ampersand sign and then space sales. So every time when I now click on any of the aggregation, so maximum sales 167. When I click on minimum sales 50, average. So average sales 109. So now you can see this powerful let function in one of the example, that how it's being utilized with the help of assigning different variables and this is fast and flexible and a lot of advantages. So in there are a lot of cases when you do the taxation calculation, you can use there as well. Okay, so this is how we have created the dynamic aggregation with the help of let function.